your course at anything like this is an invitation to dance with yourself, to become your own best partner.
I'm here with Charles McGlone. He is in my program, and what's interesting about him is he came into the program with a background in martial arts and in partner dancing. And those two together are practices in upright. They're practices that have an underlying art form to it. The way you understood the depth of the work so rapidly was really interesting to me, and I wanted to explore that a little bit further. Thanks for doing this, Charles.
You're
Can I
welcome.
ask you a little bit more about your background besides martial arts and dance? What sort of training do you have?
My father was into behavioral science way back in the day.
Mm,
He was a minister. I was part of the youth group, and he introduced everybody to behavior description, communication skills. I'm 13, 14, something like that. So that right there also takes you out of a routine sort of way of thinking,
mhm.
because I need to pay more attention to what somebody's saying to even repeat back to them, hey, it sounds like you're saying X. There's much more interactive thing going on. The one thing that I came to recently as well is that Argentine tango is a close partner dance, and it's all about the embrace. And the embrace is not just physical, it's your spirit, it's your feeling for this other human being that you're dancing with, because the whole idea is you're meeting in the middle and you're both working toward the same thing. There's lead and follow, but it's not like one is greater or lesser than the other. It's trying to harmonize your interests to have a conversation as you're moving. It's that kind of subtle, hard to describe. Like, how do you describe the orange to somebody who's never tasted one? And it's a hard thing, but I think it's inherent in all of us as human beings to feel, to sense. You have the instructions, you're looking for the feeling. It's the partnership between the two, the harmonization of those parts of us as human beings.
Yeah, the Argentine tango in particular is wonderful, and I think the reason people get so passionate about it is because you are working at the midline in a very clear way. You have to be able to rotate the spine. Part of the understanding of posture as an internal support mechanism is when you move, when you're weight shifting, when you're walking, you have to be turning in your spine. And then when you are in that center line, both of you, and feeling the music at the depth of your spine, then that's the dance as you're talking about, and it's
Yes.
yeah, and so, we spoke earlier before we started recording this about the underlying aesthetic and artistry behind the practices that you've experienced prior to coming into this. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah. So a lot of time and a lot of lessons. And what I was mentioning to you before, one of the things that I actually learned the most from was the presence of my teacher. Just to be in the same room and he's just standing there, but he embodies that feeling, that sense, that energy that he's teaching. And so it's like suddenly you're in the Qigong pool and you're wet with Qigong energy. You can't help it. And so if you can tune into that and start absorbing it and feeling yourself moving around in it, it helps to get you to where you start feeling it more readily. You get the flavor of it. In the partner dance world, my first teacher was very insistent on the fact that this is a partnership and you invite your partner. And even when you're leading, you're inviting that person to take a step. You're not grabbing, pushing, telling, invitation. And then
Yeah.
you wait. Do they respond? Then you respond. And it's because there has to be that friendliness, that acceptance of each other, because you are making something together. It's not one or the other.
Exactly. I really remember those early days when I started salsa dancing, and then when I was out and the better I got, the more there would be people who are beginners, and I never said no to anyone because I know how hard it is to ask someone to dance. But then you could see them counting or just doing the same steps in one turn, doing the whole song, but I started to shift, like, what I was doing when I danced, even if they were off rhythm. My purpose was to make that dance the best dance of their night. And so there's this connection and presence and attunement that made the dance feel great.
Yes, absolutely.
Aside but from that, like the whole concept of using our human system for aesthetic purposes versus functional purposes really reveals itself in something like Parkinson's. People with Parkinson's who have a really difficult gait, when they teach them, and they're typically teaching them tango, so they're crossing that midline. When they teach them tango, they can move smoothly. I think it's a testament to the existence of those two channels of operation,
Yeah.
functional versus aesthetic. Same thing happens in speaking. When someone has a stutter, if they're just speaking and they stutter, there's a kind of well-known clip of a singer who stutters, and she shares her story about stuttering and being a singer as well, because she learned that if she used her voice in a melodic way when she was talking, she didn't stutter. And it's fascinating to watch that. And maybe the ultimate goal of the way we operate ourselves in life is to make every functional thing at some level an aesthetic art form.
Think of it more like if there's a flow, it's going to work. And if it's choppy and broken, it can be very hard to get things to move. It's just like you're trying to get all these pieces and move it together instead of just this gliding. Think of an otter in the water, just
Yeah, right.
free flow.
Yeah, yeah. But the whole point of any sort of art form is they have constraints. The
Yeah.
constraints allow you to find the beauty and the connectivity that without a constraint, then it's just chaos. And it's hard to really find a through line because there's just too much.
Yes. Yeah. Total freedom doesn't work
Yeah.
because it gives you like it's a point of reference, so to speak. It's memories like that. You can go and learn a memory trick. What's it doing? What you're actually taking John and something John does and connecting them, and that helps you remember John's name.
Right.
Same kind of thing. The Zen Buddhists say not to. It's one thing, but if you want to look at it, well, there's complementary parts, which I like better than opposition because they're not going against. It's like breathing in and breathing out. You really need both of them.
Your father had a big influence and shaping in how you thought and perceived and communicated. And that might have programmed you to be open in a way that drew you to something like martial arts or to tango dancing.
That could very well be. He started this whole group I was with in what they called behavior description. And it was really amazing because you just see everybody watches somebody come in the room and do three things. And instead of saying, well, they walked over across the room halfway and went over here, they'd say they came in with this really buoyant energy and they were springing across the floor. And there's all this kind of like emotional, they're trying to pinpoint how the person felt as opposed to just saying, well, they just walked across the floor.
Wow.
It really got you to look at, oh, wait a minute, there's two really big things going on here. And learning very early on, I don't know what that person thinks or feels until I ask them
Hmm.
instead of guessing or wondering or all that sort of stuff. So it gets you to a place to try to find out what's the essence, not just what do you think and what are you guessing, but can I feel what that essence is?
Hmm.
Can I let myself, because it's letting yourself do that
Hmm.
more than I'm striving really hard. That usually was everything that way.
You learned early on how to perceive a holistic level where you're trying to perceive the whole of a person through just everyday movements, but then also the clarity of communicating. That piece is something that is not that common when someone is trained to perceive. There's a lot of you keep it in and you don't actually say it directly, but to take it one step further and to say it directly, that is the whole of the experience. You observe, and when you're observing, you're actually observing with the whole of yourself and with your whole internally grounded, supported, safe system. So your stuff isn't bleeding into what you perceive. And then that level of direct communication, asking and being curious and receiving. That's tremendous.
Yeah. And that took a lot longer. But yes, that's precisely the same. And when you were talking about tango, though, I was coming back to when I took that basic lesson, you were talking about hearing with the front part of your spine.
Mm.
And when you're in close partner, you can't look and see anything. You have to feel. It's the same kind of thing as if you can feel where your body is,
Mm.
and it's like, in a sense, it's almost like the whole front of you is one big ear.
Yeah,
And so,
exactly. There's a French ENT, and his name is Alfred Tomatis. I'm trained to be a practitioner in his Tomatis sound therapy method. That's basically what he said about the body being an ear. He says the ear is just specialized skin. And
yeah,
the skin is a whole listening structure, as is all of our body. Anything that's denser than air is going to transmit sound into us at a higher speed, millimoment higher speed than through our eardrums. And so we do hear with our body, and when we can listen with our body, it is a hugely enlivening and integrating experience.
yes.
And so,
I,
yeah, go ahead.
I saw a demonstration. There was a gentleman who had learned, I don't know what, in Japan, martial art wise, and he was helping lead this one class. And they had one person blindfold themselves, and they knew where the other person was.
Mm,
And it wasn't like they'd been training it for a long time. He
mhm,
was talking about the same thing, like your whole face is, or like you're saying, your whole skin is a sensory awareness,
mhm.
you know where you are in space. That was intriguing to watch because it's like it was very instinctual. It's like they didn't really have to think about it.
Yeah. When you were talking about being in the presence of your teacher and you were absorbing the intelligence of his system through your system, it was just almost transmitted to you in unspoken ways. That's a very Asian way of communicating. There's a lot of indirect, non-verbalized communication. One of the issues with cross-cultural learning is that we in the West, we like to cognitively grasp what's happening. We like the words to what's happening, and that is actually lays down tracks for potential frustration or misunderstanding in that cross-cultural exchange. So, how did you get from the point, if you're not in the room with your teacher and the presence is no longer there, how do you feel that experience that you had when you were with him?
Um, that's a hard thing because it's not even like you're trying. It's kind of, I would say that because I was open and interested
Mm,
and willing to, because you know what, it's really like another kind of listening. Again, it's like listening with your whole being, and you're doing much more listening than you are even, questions. Like somebody asks a question, or maybe you just don't even ask questions anymore. You're
mhm,
just listening.
mhm,
And so you just move, and he might make corrections, but you're just listening.
mhm,
And so over time, you're feeling what that is. And like you say, this is not it's not a weekend thing. This it's a long-term thing. I don't know how you grasp that when it's not exactly part of the culture.
mm,
You have to find it. And it's not that it can't be, it's more of a there's that general feeling of, like you're describing when people go in and they want to have the instructions so they can do whatever that practice is correctly. And yet, really coming in and making mistakes is how you learn, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really more of the aesthetic that you're talking about to me is the place where you can not worry about it's a mistake or it's wrong.
Mhm.
And you can even hear yourself say that, but don't take it to heart so much that you stop letting yourself feel and be.
Yeah. Yeah. It is that fear of getting it right that prevents people from trying and just trying and know that you can't fail. And that's why I kept especially in the intro course, kept the experiences very simplified so that there was no complication to how you might place the foot wrong. Yeah, yeah, it's an unstable structure, our standing body. It's constantly adjusting and self-correcting, and when you could just tune in to something, like when you're dancing, you're tuning into your partner and the music. You have the constraints of what you're tuning into, and when you're standing, if you don't have anything to tune into, it becomes you don't have a feedback loop. So if you tune into gravity and you know that you're doing it, your mind can quiet enough so that you can really listen and that your questioning and your curiosity is satisfied to enough so that you can start to trust that the changes that are happening are accessible to you. It's not like a passing thing, that is something that you could recreate again and again. And I think that was a comment that you made in one of the lessons, that you really felt that presence, like you were able to get there really quickly.
Yeah. Well, the first time I tried it, I did.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my, that's interesting. And one of the things is how that interacts with memory and how our memories are shaping us, but they're fragmented. And so when you get to wow, when you actually feel gravity in a all of you sort of fashion. So what I wonder is that from feeling that over time, that starts loosening any kind of extra grasping or worry that we have on those memories. And so then you actually can not release them, but let them be part of you instead of something you're worried about or something you're concentrating on, or it's just all kind of soup and all the flavors at the same time.
Right. Yeah. So what are you finding? So you've gone through the initial experience, and then as you go through the materials on your own, what are you finding in terms of going through the different exercises and discovering new ways of being more clearly connected and whole in your body?
Certainly more memories have started to bubble. Way old, like being a very small child and seeing an image when I was very young. Or and but they're very free form and just kind of bubbles up. And that's what I meant about that gravity feeling. Really seems to be a big deal, like you're saying, in the confidence and the relaxation that comes from just feeling gravity.
Mhm.
And then the rest is kind of all like play, like, okay, we're flowing here, we're dancing there. This
There
is
you go.
wiggling here, that's wiggling
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, exactly. That's the sense of being able to play in your body. That's why people report like they feel young again or they feel playful. That's a word that people use a lot because the holding and fear have started to soften, start to fall away, and it frees up energy. And so now you can feel the flow and play. And when you have a background in dancing, that you can feel the groove, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
Just striding down the hall or
Uh-huh.
shh.
Nice. Nice. And so the memories that are coming up, are they memories that what sort of memories are they? Are they memories that surprise you? They're just interesting, or are they kind of like, wow, I didn't think that I could handle that memories?
More like, oh, that's how I was thinking about that.
Mm.
Like kind of origin memories, just for something that I feel that, is common in how I look at the world.
Hmm. So you're seeing the roots of some of the ways that you are right now
Yes,
go back further than you used to consciously remember?
yes.
Uh-huh.
Or just that I'd even thought about.
Mm.
But there's just it's kind of like a loosening. It's more free flowing than it was before.
What kind of brought you into the program? Why did you decide to enroll?
You said a couple of things, and I was like, the ear heard something, the flavor, the taste. And I went, need to watch that. What's in there? And then that's when I watched the first one. You take people through standing with the three keys. And I thought, there's some goodies in there. We got to check this out. That's so much of how I walk through life all the time. So I walk in to help somebody where I work at my job at Seattle Children's Hospital. And the first thing is embrace. How are they? What's going on? This is this other human being. We're here to see if we can get the computer to work. We're here to see if we can dance. We're here to see if we can be friendly and nice to each other. It's the embrace. It's
That's lovely. That's a really great concept to have when you meet people. Like, there's an embrace there. Like, how do you make that dance, whatever contact it is, the best one of the night?
yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just whoosh.
Right. Right.
Just doesn't connect. That's okay too.
Well, thank you. Is there anything else that, yeah, you want to share that might be interesting and help somebody who's not sure about what this is about, or something that can help them understand what it's like from the other side? You came in with alignment already with how this operates, so it wasn't necessarily too new to you. It's just making it more efficient.
Very fine tuning though.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's very excellent. I would say it looks interesting. Give it a go. Don't stop. Don't think a whole lot. Just try it. It's good for you. It's because really your course in anything like this is an invitation to dance with yourself, to become your own best partner, and have every day can be that greatest dance. And then you go out and you can share it with other people too. It's just awesome.